Do you know that there are things absolutely to know before you start working on energy or trying to communicate with your own animal? Hi, I'm the Outdoor Witch. I'm an animal intuitive, energy healer, outdoor lover, and owner of several pet friends. So in today's video, I want to share with you 7 principles that I believe are super important to get the most of the work you're trying to do with your animals, whether it's in communication or if it's any kind of energy work. I believe they are crucial to get amazing results. And they're really going to enhance your relation with your animal in a general way. And it's also really going to help the work you try to do or you want to do with them. So before we get started, there's one thing to be very clear about. The animal's trust in you and in your ability to understand their issue will depend greatly on how you consider them, how much credit you give them. Imagine, just think for a minute. How willing are you to talk to someone to tell about your biggest fears or your, all the doubt about yourself to someone who is looking down on you or think it's superior to you? I bet you wouldn't feel very comfortable talking to that person, right? So it's exactly the same for the animal you're trying to communicate with or you want to give healing to. Now let's dive into the 7 principles. Principle number 1. Ask for permission. Ask for permission of the animal before performing any healing or communications with them. And ask both the animal and the animal owner if it's not your own animal. This is really important. It's a mark of respect to ask them if they agree that you're working with them, that you do that energy healing. I mean, they're not stupid. They know you're doing something on them. They feel it much more than we do. They are extra sensitive. So I think if you don't want to be considered as a rude invader, but rather be welcome, then you must ask for permission first. This will give you credit in the eyes of the animals as well. And then they will be more ready to receive your healing, communicate with you, share information. I think it's also very important because it gives you a taste of how they feel that day. It gives you a lot of information on the animal, just to ask that very first question. Can I work with you? Are you okay that I do that healing treatment on you? Some said that you can skip that step if it's your own animal and if it's been agreed on a previous, it's been previously agreed. Yet I still always ask my animals when I'm going to work with them. I always tell them, hey, today I would like to do this with you. I would like to work on that issue, blah, blah. I tell them exactly what I'm going to do. And I check with them if it's okay for them to do that day. Because sometimes they're not in the mood, they're not ready, they're not receptive. So it's probably not a good day to do it. For instance, I have females who are on heat right now. It's not the best time to try and do something because their mind is so occupied with this natural thing that, I can still do some work, but it will be much more efficient if I wait for a couple of weeks and I'll do that later. Okay, principle number 2 is free will. Animals have free will. Really keep this in mind and really know it. You cannot force an animal to act or do something just for your own sake. Communicating with animals doesn't mean you can force them to do something they're not willing to do. It's a communication, it's a discussion, but you cannot force them out of their own nature, their own species, who they are, who they came to be here on this planet. Animals have their own agenda, their own understanding, perspective, and purpose in life. So being aware of this and taking it into account is going to be much more efficient than trying to go against that. And also free will means that they might not accept the help that you offer, the healing you offer, or they might not be willing to talk that day, or just not being willing to talk at all. And believe me, it's not easy to accept, especially if it's an animal you really care for who's sick and you really try to help them and they just say, no, no, I don't want to be healed. And it happened. It has happened to me, and it can be really hard for us human because we don't have the same perspective about life and death. But most of the time animals are more than happy to talk, more than happy to take the healing you give them. So it's only on some occasion, but if you're aware of it, it makes things a lot easier too. Okay, so that was principle number 2. Number 3 is clean your own vibration first. And by this I mean that whenever you're facing an issue, let's say it's your own animal, you're facing an issue with your pet or animal companion, and this issue is irritating you. That's, for instance, if it's a dog barking all the time and it's annoying for the neighbors, it's annoying for you and you can't have him stop. That can get on your nerve or get you really upset, or you just don't know what to do. You feel hopeless and helpless. So his behavior or her behavior has an impact on you. And what I mean by cleaning your own vibration is to make sure that you are in a neutral state regarding the issue you want to work on. So for that, you have to become the neutral observer. And I will do a separate video, especially on that topic. It's really about getting so calm and so clean that your own vibration, your own feelings don't go into the mix. You want to be perfectly neutral when you want to work with the animal, so you can receive better, clearer communication, and you can give real healing without any interference. Before starting, you have to clean that vibration, be aware of how your own feeling get into the mix, also how your own limiting beliefs or beliefs on the matter might affect the way you work or the way you receive the communication and the information shared with you with the animal. So just be very honest with you. It's only about yourself because you are the one trying to get information or trying to help. So be totally honest with yourself and clean what needs to be done before starting to work. Or if you cannot clean it completely, at least go into that neutral state, which will help you work or get the information in a very clear way. I believe that some of the most common way to clean your vibration and get into that neutral observer state is to use meditation or tapping to clean away all the emotions and the feeling regarding this particular issue. Let's go into principle number 4. Be patient. That's really a very important one. So be very patient when you work with animal. And this is for one reason. First is that one issue can hide another one. So your pet might be barking for one thing, but then you think you've discovered why, you clean this, and then it keeps on and the behavior is not really changing, or it changed only for a short time and then it starts again. There might be something else coming up. So just be aware and be open that things are gonna might take time. There might be many layers to one single issue. And especially if it's been going on for a long time, or if you don't know the history of your pet or animal companion, and it can take, like several sessions to really clean it all completely. I've seen that with some of my animals. For some, it goes away like super quickly. It's amazing. And sometimes it can last longer and it can feel a bit frustrating or like it's not working. But notice the small changes, and there are some. Just notice them, like, it's not 100%, but it didn't freak out when I touched the door. Let's say for an animal who's been really traumatized, it can be very little things. So really look at them, try to find these little changes, and it's going to motivate you to keep going and not giving up. So many layers. It's like the onion you peel. There can be other issues also hidden below. And one reason your animal might be consciously or unconsciously be keeping this thing underneath, it can be that the trauma is so big that it would be too much of an emotional load for them to handle. So they keep it low, they keep it under the surface, and often they're not even aware of it. And I've had the case with the dog that I will share with you. It was such a heavy history. She was keeping so many things really deep down. It took me really a long time, but she was making progress. And it's a wonderful story. So I will share it at some point. So just be patient, don't give up, keep doing the really good work and look for the little details that your animal is improving. Let's go for principle number 5. Keep an open mind. Super important. Keep an open mind in the way your animal is going to communicate with you and on what you're going to discover, what he might be willing to tell you, because you can be surprised. It can be something completely out of, something you didn't expect at all. It can be like kind of out of the blue. What is he mentioning that? Or why is she telling me this? So really keep an open mind, and don't dismiss information or image or things you get, even if they don't really seem to make sense. Write them down. Just take everything, and just don't dismiss things too quickly, because that's something we tend to do, and then we often miss some important information that the animal was trying to get through in his own way. So open mind, don't be too rigid about how it's going to communicate with you, and also keep an open heart. Principle number 6. Give up on any expectation regarding the outcome. This one is a tough one for me, also, after all this time, because you can do your best, and you have to do your best. You do the work, do it to the best of your abilities, for really, because it comes from deep on the heart and towards your animal, and just do everything you can. But then you have to let go of whether the healing is going to be received, the communication is going to be efficient or not. This is not up to you. Just keep in mind that you want the best outcome for all the parties involved, but the best outcome might not be the one you think of. It requires us to be very humble and to keep the ego at bay. Our work as healer and intuitive is to transmit information, to share, to help, to soothe. But we cannot decide. We cannot be like, yeah, I want this and this to happen, and I'm going to do that method and it works every time. Unfortunately, it's not the case. But actually, I've noticed that when I totally release the outcome, I just do the work, I enjoy what I do, and then often the result is much better than I would have expected. So my animals are coming in. Principle number 7, we get some company. It's work with pure intention. Keep your ego at bay and know why you're working, why you want to do that healing, why you want to have information coming from your animal or tell him or her something. And as for principle number 3, be super honest with yourself. You cannot lie to you, and your vibration, the healing you're going to transmit, your animals is picking on all this. So you cannot lie, and it's not going to work if you lie to yourself. So be very honest. Do it for the well-being of the animal, to soothe him, to help him have a better experience, for you and your animal to have a better experience. But not only because you want him to shut up, because it's gonna, you can sleep better, or you will feel less angry, or you cannot change the behavior of your animals for your own sake only. Real communication and healing can take place only if you do it from a pure heart, for a pure intention. We have to accept our animal companions as they are, just as they are. They came here to be animals, to be a dog, to be a cat, and we cannot change them. So the purpose is really to enhance their experience here on earth with us, especially if they are our companions, but we cannot change them. Actually, I think it's the same for everyone, for people as well. So let me just give you an example. As I said before, imagine a dog is barking and you really want him to stop and shut up, because it's annoying and you can't sleep, and and it's really frustrating, and you just, it gets on your nerve. You can tell him all this. There are very good reasons for a human, but from his dog point of view, he's not gonna listen to you. What you have to do instead is clean this on you, clean that vibration of being angry, upset at that behavior, and then you can work on the dog to understand. Ask him what's the underlying reason. Is there any discomfort? Is there something that is troubling him or her, and what might explain his behavior? Or it might just be because he's guarding his property, so he's doing the work he's supposed to do. So then it's going to be a different kind of work with that animal. But just first be very clear, work with pure intention, know why you do it, and then do the work for the animal for his or her well-being. All right, so we've covered the 7 principles. The first one is ask for permission. Second, animals have free will. Third, clean your vibration. Number 4 is be patient. 5, keep an open mind. 6, release any expectation. And 7, work with pure intention from the heart for the well-being of your own animal. Okay, so thanks very much for joining me today. And if you like it, you can leave a comment. If you have any other feedback, or you have a case you want to share with me, a question you want to ask, and please feel free to subscribe, share if you think this video can be useful to other pet owners and lovers. Have a great time. Bye.